oh, I got INTJ like 1 year ago, the next year I got INFP, and then the same person was drunk and took the same test, and then they got ESTP, and then they're like, oh well, I changed my personality, I guess. And I'm sitting there thinking, nope. Hey everyone, welcome to a new video of Typevolution, where I show you how to evolve through your personality type. You can call me Olympia, and in this video I'm going to talk about change. When it comes to evolution and personal evolution, the most significant change can be observed when someone goes from the lowest to the highest level, or vice versa, if they go from a higher level to the lowest pits of despair. There are different ideas about how dynamic or how static our personality types are. In many psychology circles, there exists this idea that your personality is very flexible, that it cannot be put into any boxes or categories, and that it changes significantly over time. And then there's the other view, where you have a static personality type which doesn't change. And you can also group those two beliefs into a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, I am in the middle. So as you may know, I am a fan or proponent of Jungian typology. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, who basically is in German I would say Urvater, the father of origin when it comes to the theory of personality types. You know probably about the MBTI, or you know about Socionics, or any other kind of personality type system where there are 16 personality types, and supposedly everyone fits into one of the 16 types, or in the Enneagram, one of the 9 types. And I've talked about the Enneagram types before in my previous videos. I call them the 9 ego identities. Now, I do not believe that your Jungian type can change. I know I have some friends who don't know that much about personality type theory, and they just took some random MBTI test online, and they say, oh, I got INTJ like 1 year ago, the next year I got INFP, and then the same person was drunk and took the same test, and then they got ESTP, and then they're like, oh well, I changed my personality, I guess. And I'm sitting there thinking, nope, you didn't change your personality. Those tests are limited. They just spew out what you put in, and the problem is that, okay, this is like something you may also recognize from questionnaires. Questionnaires, one of the key flaws of questionnaires when they are about behavior is that many people are not that self-aware. There's like a classic example. Let's say you're using Facebook, okay? Guess how many hours you are using Facebook. For how many hours are you on Facebook every day? Sorry. So how many hours are you spending on Facebook? Well, you're probably guessing wrong. Or how many hours are you watching YouTube? Or how many hours are you just browsing the internet? And if you're someone who browses everything like very rarely, then it's easier to guess, like maybe 1 hour a day or something. But if you're on there constantly, if you're just in between somewhere, then it's really hard to guess how many hours you're actually spending on there. And it is similar with those personality type tests that are just about your behavior. Most people are not that aware about the specifics of their behavior and the specifics of how their mind operates. And that's why you can get so vastly different results in those tests, in those online tests, especially over time. Yes, there is some wriggle room, basically. There is some room. Your personality can change, but it is still within the boundaries of your type. No, people do not change so extremely that their personalities could totally be unrecognizable, but there is a certain variance when it comes to mental health, obviously. For everyone who has had mental health struggles in the past, they will know how different your own personality can express itself or can be when you are like very mentally unhealthy versus when you are healthier. And I've experienced it myself. I was still me, but there was a point in my life where I was close to the worst version of myself. It was just like this black hole, essentially, where all the light in the world was getting sucked into. And it is extreme, you know. You can be the worst version of yourself, and I was quite a different person in some sense, but it was still within the boundaries of my type. Okay, I'm gonna make some videos probably about the good and bad sides, or the light and dark sides of every type, especially when it comes to the ego identities, the Enneagram, because that illustrates very well the health levels. And this is a bit controversial, and I am not a licensed therapist. I have not studied psychology, so this is a disclaimer. But the Enneagram correlates certain unhealthy types with certain personality disorders or mental mood disorders. For instance, type 3, who I call the performer, when they're at their unhealthiest, they are correlated with narcissistic personality disorder. On the other hand, when they're healthy, they can be very inspiring, very driven, ambitious, and help other people succeed. So there's like this light and dark, okay? And we all have that light and dark in us. It is brewing underneath the surface. This is what Jung would probably call the shadow. We all carry this shadow within us. And there are certain experiences in life that will trigger the shadow to emerge and to take over in some sense. I tend to say this correlates with the 3 drives, which I call the 3 instincts. When you are mastering the drives, you are emerging from that pit and you're getting into the higher levels, and you're gonna have an improved version and level of your personality, okay? Just think about someone who's depressed, right? Versus someone who is content and happy with their life. And the same person can experience both states in life, or both periods in life, right? And their personality can be a certain way when they're depressed and be a certain way when they're happy. That's like the spectrum there is. But it is still within the confines of their basic personality type, right? Even so, there's still I think there's still more room for improvement than one might think. But at the same time, I tend to be a bit against people trying to really change who they are, like really change their personality. That's not really the key or the aim here. The focus should rather be on being your best version, and the best version is usually being the most adaptive version, the most updated version, like going with the times. I talked about that before, I think in a live that I did in my Facebook group, that if you are stuck, you're not actually stuck. Time constantly moves forward, so what you consider stuck is actually going backwards. So as time goes forward, you're just going backwards, okay? you have to be updated. You have to continuously update yourself. It's like when YouTube makes an update and people are like, oh, this is so lame, the interface sucks, where's everything, blah blah. But we still need to continuously update ourselves. We still need to continuously grow and change certain things and, you know, adapt. We have to constantly adapt. That's evolution, right? Like, evolution is about who is the fittest in the sense of who's the best adapted to their circumstances. And if you fail to adapt to a situation, in my experience, that usually correlates with depression and suicidal thoughts. And then usually once you understand and gain the ability to adapt, that's when you finally become the better version of yourself. That's when you lift the veil, and that's when the depression falters and disappears. So yeah, I mean, there are many stories out there, many stories of people rising from the ashes, many celebrities, like Robert Downey Jr. is also a good example of someone who was a drug addict and who went to rehab a couple of times and even got to jail and all those things. But now he's like Iron Man, and now he's super on the top of his game. And that's like a very good example of what his personality was capable of. His personality type did not change. By the way, I'm inclined to believe that he is an ENFP and MBTI, though I guess that's also debatable. Even so, like, he has that sort of static type construct, but there's still this range of who he could be, and this is also, as I said, tied to the ego identity. To be honest, I am not entirely sure what his main ego identity is. Like, this is his main Enneagram type. It's either, in my opinion, it's either 3 or 7. If you study the Enneagram, you're going to see the huge differences and the light and dark, and we all have it in us. I guess it's kind of scary that we all have the dark in us, but it's also liberating and encouraging to know that we all have the light in us as well. What really helped me was focusing on the drives and the instincts and realizing what the ego identity was, because the ego identity is not who you truly are. It is an ego identity. It's an ego. Who you truly are is, I guess, much deeper to say it a bit superficially. But really, it's more than that. You are a culmination of the ego identity, your life experiences, where you're from, your genetic blueprint, and all those things. And what you may call the soul. So, yeah. And that's also why I really liked studying the personality type theory stuff, because once you know what is the type, what is the personality type, then you know, okay, like, what am I working with? And from then on, you can improve, you can step up, you can just change your entire experience of life. Yeah, there's so much that can be improved and that can be, evolved. So yeah, I hope this video makes a bit more sense of everything and is a bit of an encouragement for those of you who might think, oh, my type is so limited, I cannot be, a better version of this. But yes, you can. If you want to know more about this, if you want to know more of the specifics about how you can evolve and improve your type, then book a type coaching session with me. You can find the information down below, and you can find it on my Facebook page. There I'm also typing the personality types. So if you want to get your personality type typed, aka a get typed session, then also go to my Facebook page or look down below in the links. And I would recommend you to first get typed and then get a type coaching session. Also, you can join our Facebook group, and have a good day. Oh, and like, subscribe. Alright, bye.